Greetings, one and all, and welcome to the podcast where nothing makes sense. Off topic. Here we start with the singular topic and end up talking about anything and everything that strikes our ADHD-addled fancy. I'm joined this week by the legendary Cosmo and the mythical Isaac. You two can fight it out amongst yourselves which status is rarer. But for now, and for the next hour, we will be discussing all things childhood, whether that be memories, psychology, or just stupid shit kids do. So, I don't know if you guys have anything specific you wish to talk about, I'm thinking most of this episode is probably going to be just memories of like things that we did as a childhood, and then a little towards the end I want to talk a little bit about like childhood psychology, because it is a little different from like adult psychology, and just kind of like the way that kids' brains work, because I find that interesting as well. But I was thinking just kind of shits and giggles for the next hour. Remembering stupid stuff we did as a kid.
I'm sorry, my brain is doing like a shift. It is like shifting from D&D mode to podcast mode, so give it a second.
I gotta turn my light back on. It's dark.
Please tell me a light bulb just illuminated above your head.
Yeah. No, literally, there's a light bulb right over the top of me.
Yes! Let's go! Iconic.
I have an idea. So if neither of you have anything specific you want to talk about,
You just want a light bulb over your head, so like...
Yeah, light bulb went above my head, so I have ideas. I do have ideas.
Go for it.
The main thing that I think about when I think about like childhood memories is a lot of backyard bonfires. And Isaac, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because for those of you listeners who do not know, Isaac and I have been friends since literally birth. Our parents are friends. Our parents are very close friends, so we have been friends since literally birth. And so he and his family participate a lot in these backyard bonfires. And when I think things that kids do, specifically memories, I think stupid shit. And when I think stupid shit, I think of remember the hammock and that time we launched my brother 12 feet up in the air?
You know what I first thought? That hammock.
Yeah, that hammock was absolutely legendary.
That hammock was a hammock of children memories, and also possible, like, how the heck did we not die memories, you know?
No,
like,
yeah. So for those of you listeners out there, this hammock was not like a standard like cocoon hammock. It was a large woven hammock that was probably about maybe 6 feet wide and like 10 feet long. And it was hung between two trees. And it was somewhat stiff. Like it had a little bit of give to it, but it was somewhat stiff. So somebody would sit on the one end of the hammock. Of course, it had to be the end facing the fire. And somebody from the other side of the yard would come running up and jump on the back of the hammock and slam it down, and whoever was sitting on the front would go flying up in the air. I swear we launched my brother at least 6 feet in the air. And as kids, that's pretty damn high.
No, because that's like 6 feet. Yeah.
That's like, as a kid, that's taller than you are.
You know trampolines.
That's an adult that's taller than I am.
I was gonna say it still is taller than you are. Yeah, trampolines have nets. Yeah.
We had a trampoline that did not have a net.
I remember that trampoline.
Yeah, I think it's like old, man.
Yeah, I think it was there just a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
if I remember it was there just a couple of years ago.
It hasn't been used in so long.
Something about the threat of danger. Why are children so attracted to it?
I know. Well, the thing is that kids don't get hurt; they just bounce. I'm always like, kids hit the ground and instead of breaking, they squeak. They make like a squeaking sound.
My God,
and everybody looks
crazy.
And everybody looks at me. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Have you ever heard a kid hit the ground? They literally make a squeaking sound."
No.
Wild.
That's wild.
It's true.
It's accurate. Can't deny. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a great memory that I
Yeah.
have.
What that hammock especially, I feel like, because like not only did we do a lot of stupid, risky, like dangerous stuff, but there was also so much like imagination that happened there. And that's like
Yeah.
that defines childhood, I feel like, is imagination and risk. And I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe it was just the boy thing that we were like all throwing ourselves around and killing each other because I had three brothers.
Yeah.
Like our household was chaotic, you know? There was a lot of fights. There would like probably some broken furniture. Um so I can't speak to any households that like had females in them other than like the mom. But yeah,
Yeah,
because
that hammock
creative imagination, genius, and Daredevil, how the heck are you still alive? Like that's the duality of man.
as you're talking about this hammock, I'm specifically remembering we used to play like a pirates game on it, where that was like our
Yeah.
raft, and we would like shake the raft, and somebody would be a shark or something, and the rest of us would like pile onto the hammock and try not to fall off. I also remember sticking our
Below.
hands. I remember sticking our hands and feet in the woven parts of the hammock, and then trying to flip it upside down and staying there as long as possible.
My God.
There were so many times that we just hit. There were so many times we just hit the ground and we were like, ooh, and then we're like, ah,
Yeah.
and then we're like, hey, it's fine. We got up like 2 minutes later, and it's like, hey, we're
Hammocks
fine.
are
The parents
crazy.
were. What were our parents doing? Honestly, like they were just at the fire ignoring us.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely sometimes like, what the heck were they thinking? But I mean, we're still here, so I like.
It's just a hammock.
it's just a hammock. There's only so much damage you can. It's. I swear, we almost launched my brother into the fire a couple of times. So it was more than just a hammock. It was a catapult. But
Almost.
it was a weapon. But as a kid, you could turn just about anything.
Trebuchet.
The trebuchet. But I have that specific hammock vividly in my mind. It was brown, and it was woven, and it was a lot of fun.
That I think was one of my favorite parts whenever we visited. I was always like, heck yes, it's hammock time.
It's hammock
And
time.
It's hammock time.
Like, other than the hammock thing, Isaac, I'm trying to remember like specific stuff that we did together.
I remember very vividly the scene of you coming to the back, like my old house, going into the backyard, and we had like one of those red and yellow car things that you would like walk around in and pretend to drive. And I
Yeah,
don't remember if that was actually the first time I met you, but for whatever reason, that's like how my brain has memorialized that. And I
interesting.
don't remember anything else from that. I just remember that there was that car in our backyard, and our moms both were like having a meeting, and we met. And so, like, yeah, it's so weird how memory works back when you're looking there in your
Oh
childhood.
my
And like,
God.
I'm not false memories. We're not going there. I'm
False
just saying it's
memories.
crazy how your
False
brain can associate
memories.
things.
False memories.
I just remembered something. I forgot. I forgot.
Oh,
Like I also remember it. When I was really little, like really little, there used to be it was like a I don't know how to explain it. It was like a daycare, but it was run by a single person. It was anyway. Basically, God, I don't remember it well enough. We
we'll
would
figure it out.
okay, we would go to this place. It was forgot their name. Forgot their name. But anyway, we go to this it's like a babysitter, but it's like instead of the babysitter going to your house, all the kids go to one person, the babysitter's house, and they like
Okay.
watch over it for the parents, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just I don't have any like specific points from it, but I just remember that it was like fun, I guess.
Yeah. I have there's a second set of family friends that I will probably be talking about pretty much through the entirety of this episode. Um, Isaac, you might know them. I'm not going to give out their last name. But do you remember Evie and Amelia? You would probably recognize them by their last name. Joel is at least
Honestly,
familiar with them.
I don't know if I recognize them by last name, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So there was another family that so we did homeschool stuff with them. Um, or at least my brother did. And I have so many wild, crazy stories about shit that we did. Um, I we actually at one point, I think it was sophomore year. No, it was before that because it ended. It ended junior year, I think, or maybe early senior year. No, early senior year. So it might have started sophomore year. We had a YouTube channel where we would just take videos of us we would do like skits or like a lot of the stuff was like VOD like where it was or that's not what it's called, vlog like, where it was just us just hanging out together and we would videotape it. And then we would edit it and post it on YouTube. I'm not gonna give out the name of that YouTube channel because it's cringe as fuck.
I am so curious now.
Sebastian has access to it.
Oh, I gotta ask Sebastian.
No, I told Sebastian about it.
Really
He brought it. He
mentioned
brought
that.
it up he brought it up a couple of months ago. I was like, "How the fuck do you know about that? I don't remember telling you." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you told me in band." And I was like, well, that was a mistake on my part." But it's absolute. It was absolutely wild. There was some crazy stuff that we did. But the stuff that a lot of the stuff I'm thinking of is not necessarily stuff that was on that channel, but stuff that we did when we were really little. Because once again, family, friends, we've known each other since we were born. And I remember vividly, we went to our neighbor's yard, and we would hang out in their backyard. Because they let us use their backyard. And there was a ditch, and it had just rained a lot, so the ditch was full of mud. And my brother, it was always my brother, wound up waist deep in the mud.
That tracks.
Mud.
Get it? It tracks
He
to
lost-
mud and mud tracks into the house.
Tracks. Yeah, he lost his shoes in the mud. But I remember us coming back in the house and their mom being like, "What the fuck did you guys do?" And my mom being like, "You absolute assholes." Of course they didn't use those words, but it was like they were like freaking out.
Yeah.
They were like, "Jesus Christ, what are these children doing?"
Boy, children.
I have this old camera that just kind of sits in my room now. I think it still works somehow. I used to make like videos on it. Like the camera quality is horrible.
Yeah.
Dude, I love looking back at videos from childhood.
They're
Like, I
so
was
cringe.
such a funny kid.
I have so many cringe videos.
Yeah,
Children are just funnier than adults. Like, where did our sense of humor go?
I know.
Also, yeah.
I think what it
Say
is.
that for yourself.
I know. I don't think I've gotten funnier. I think I've gotten more reliant upon myself in that, like, I'm now comfortable saying like funny things around, like, in groups and stuff. I'm more comfortable being funny. But I think a lot of that speaks to a lack of imagination. Like, you definitely, there's a distinct like losing of imagination as you get older. Like, your imagination and your creativity definitely decrease as you get older, at least for a majority of people. And I think that's where a lot of that not as funny comes from, because all of a sudden you're no longer creatively funny, you are referencing things because you have more stuff to reference. So like I find myself referencing stuff a lot, whether that be online memes, or like jokes that have already been made, um, or stuff like that. Um, but I think a lot of that imagination and creativity kind of, it's not a lot, part of it is that it's not prioritized. Um, so it definitely like just kind of disappears over time.
Yeah, I
It's also just
guess.
kind of how you see the world. Like when you look back, if you saw a big wide open forest area as an adult, you'll be like, oh, that maybe looks nice, or maybe you'll think like, oh, that looks kind of creepy, I want to get out of here. Or maybe you'll just like take it in and then move on. But like as a kid, you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like another dimension, a whole new world of adventure that I can have. Like you just see the world in a very, I can't think of the right word because it's not naive, but like innocent,
Whimsical.
imaginative. That's a good
Whimsical.
one. Whimsical is a wonderful word. And so like a lot of it, I think, as adults, we're trained to be like, oh, these things have to be funny, these things have to be. But like when you think about it, some of the best laughs you've ever had, I say as an adult, were like 20 or something. So take that with a grain of salt. But some of the best laughs are the ones where you're just with friends and something like totally absurd or random or pointless happens, and you lose your mind, right? Like
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
isn't supposed to make sense. And so I think as kids, when the world doesn't make sense and you just have to like take it and you're just like, you know what? Sure, why not? And things are just funny. Someone will like drop an apple and you'll just be like, dude, that's like the best stuff I've seen all day. You know?
Yeah. I feel like that speaks into like that whole funny doesn't have to make sense. Speaks into what makes brain rot so popular.
Oh my god.
That was my first thought when he said that. I'm like, I don't want to support brain rot by any means. Not that I hate it, but there's only so much of it that's like it's only so entertaining, and
I
there's
can
no
only take
there's
so much.
there's no the thing is there's no artistic value behind it. Like
I don't
that's
know. People get real creative with brain rot.
that's maybe it has more artistic value, and our small brains just can't comprehend it.
No, don't fall to
We
the
cannot
propaganda.
comprehend the skibbity sigma.
The skibbity.
I
I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop
a
now.
little.
Oh, this generation is fucking
Oh.
doomed.
Yeah, so not supporting brain rot, but to an extent, like, you know, 10 or so years ago when brain rot wasn't called brain rot and had a little more whatever to
Nuance.
it. Like,
Yeah, nuance. It was a little more nuanced.
yeah, there's just something magical about finding humor where there is nothing explicitly humorous.
I feel like part of that is children are just generally more joyful. They're not bothered by the evils of this world.
They have less responsibility. They
They
gotta just
definitely have
like
less responsibility.
they
Which,
can fling siblings into the air in the hammock without having to worry about the hospital bills that'll arrive if something goes wrong.
yeah. And for some reason, as you said, our parents never stopped us. So
They might have tried, honestly. Like looking back, I can't say
they probably thought it was fine because we were being supervised. So like worst case scenario, somebody wound up with a broken bone, and like there were 4 people there,
yeah.
4 adults there. So like if somebody had to take somebody to the hospital and there was an emergency room right around the corner, like it was fine.
And there was like yeah, we were little, but we did also have my older brothers. So like there was some sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think a healthy dose of freedom for kids is like important because you can't be micromanaging everything because then they're like you're sticking the responsibility on them. You gotta let them
Yeah.
be free.
There's a lot of things that I hated as a kid that are like now hobbies. Like as a kid, like I was taking skiing, right?
Yeah.
And I hated it. It was horrible. The worst thing I've ever done, actually. And now I ski like basically every year. Same with board games. Surprisingly enough, I love board games, right? But I used to get so mad at board games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, the two of you
I
would
was
get
a
along
dice
very
player.
well. You guys both love board games.
Board games on top.
Yeah. Speaking of snow
I'm actually
activities,
going to a board game night tonight.
nice.
Fantastic.
Speaking of snow activities, I remember, so I think we talked a little bit about this in the Christmas episode, but like snowball fights and stuff were so much fun,
Oh my
especially at
god.
especially at my old house where we had 3/4 of an acre to work with, and we had like icicle swords and like uh sled shields and all sorts of fun stuff.
Sled shields are crazy.
Well, we had like those round, like those round
Yeah, yeah,
sleds.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We had those, and we would like we'd
They
like
really
run
work
up
as
with them.
shields, though.
They worked so well because a little kid is the perfect size to duck behind it. So just your hand that's holding the top of the shield, you plant it in the snow and you duck behind it, and you're just like completely covered. It was actually kind of overpowered. They got banned from gameplay sometimes because they were so good. Um, but I remember having like ice shurikens as well. So we had like a couple of like
That seems incredibly dangerous.
oh, it was so much fun. Um, there were a couple of ditches, small ditches, along the sides of the yard, between our yard and our neighbor's yard. And they would fill up with water and then they would freeze. And so there was always plenty of ice around. And we would break out that ice and we would use it as like melee
Oh my
weapons.
god.
It was probably not the greatest plan, but it was a lot of fun as a kid. I probably only
Did you
got
ever
clonked in the head a couple of times.
use shovels, just shovel snow?
Yeah.
Yep. Catapult.
Catapult.
Yep.
We
Catapult
did.
going up.
Snow forts were a big thing at my
Trebuchet going up.
my brothers. Whenever there was like big snow, and we got big snow a lot, we would go into the backyard. Well, first off, shoveling. We hated shoveling because it's like, oh my gosh, physical labor. This is the worst.
Yeah.
Until I figured out that you could turn shoveling into a game, and that's like, where the whole creativity thing comes in. Suddenly, like we loved shoveling because we would just go out, me and my little brother, and we would just go crazy. We'd like create this whole universe where instead of shoveling, we were actually like mining in these mines, and there would be like we called them white coals, which apparently are an actual thing somewhere in Norway, but and we would like talk to each other like we're these disgruntled coal mine workers in their 40s just trying to
The
make a living.
children, they yearn for the
I
mines.
was just gonna say that.
The
Exactly.
children yearn for the mines.
The children yearn for the mine.
And so then we would get like super excited and actually go shovel. But then the other thing that got us excited was when we shoveled, we'd put all the snow into a big pile, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
And
say.
it's
Is it would all
really
end up in a big pile, and that's great for just tunneling into and creating a big snow
Oh.
fort inside of.
like
That is probably so
hang on
dangerous.
top and just dig
Oh,
out
probably.
behind it. And not only could you dig out from behind it to go down to the grass, so you have like however much snow fell plus however much snow you like just tossed off of the driveway. So you could have like a pretty high pile of snow that you could then also all the snow you dug out could go on top and just have this giant fort. And so we would often go into the backyard and like take the snow and just build these massive forts. Sometimes we would build cities of like all sorts of buildings, have a giant snowball fight, go crazy, and then at the end, once everyone's kind of getting like done and cold and ready and mom has hot chocolate inside, that's when you start going for the fatalities where it's like, I've got a snowball, throw it, person jumps, gets hit, falls back into the building, crushes all the snow, and it's just so satisfying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I miss those. I fully
Cracking ice
plan
is
if I
also
had
so
kids someday
satisfying.
to
Yeah.
build forts and snowball fights and everything with them because that's just like I don't understand how you cannot like snow. Like I'm sorry if you're whining about the snow, grow up. It's fine. You have to brush off your car. Oh no, that takes like 10 minutes. wake up a
Yeah.
little earlier, you'll live. Once you get back from work, go build a snowman. I don't care. Like, stop whining.
Speaking of
Oh,
snow
shut up, my
mining,
soapbox.
speaking of snow mining, relating back to those pits that would fill with ice. Remember that opening scene in Frozen where they have the ice
Oh
miners?
my god,
Me and
yeah.
my brother would act that out like every year because we fucking loved Frozen.
Well,
And
that's like one of the best
Valid.
scenes too.
yeah, a great kids movie. But like I remember taking like shovels and large sticks and breaking up the ice and like hauling it onto sleds and then carrying it around the yard and pretending like, oh, I'm a poor ice miner. Will you, the merchant, buy my ice? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll buy your ice, kid. And like, it was just so much fun.
No economies.
Snow economy, yeah.
Speaking of movies,
The ice economy.
have you ever the at the library you can rent out like a bunch of DVDs?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we used to do that. Like I don't know, Thomas the Tank Engine and other stuff like that.
Do you guys remember Spookly the Square Pumpkin?
Yep,
Huh?
we had a Spookly plush.
I've never heard of that.
Oh my gosh, look
Never
it
heard of
up.
Spookly?
You've never heard of
Spookly?
Spookly? Look it up. Spookly the Square Pumpkin.
Every Halloween. That was like on
What?
loop.
What the
It's exactly what it sounds like.
That is terrifying. Staring into my soul.
Yeah, I remember watching that at my nana's one year, and then I don't think I saw it like ever again until I was in the hospital, and they were doing like some kind of like DBT or CBT thing, where it was like it was a Halloween thing, and it was like it's okay to be yourself, and sometimes you're being yourself is better than trying to be somebody else, which is kind of like the whole point of the movie.
Mhm.
And they showed that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this fucking movie! I remember this.
Spookly the Square Pumpkin. Dude, that song. I don't know
So-
why. I loved that song as a child. I like honestly, I couldn't even explain. Like, it's not one of those songs that you go back to and listen. You're like, oh my gosh, this slaps. If I heard it again, I would probably be slightly concerned for my child's like my child's self mental health because
Yeah,
it's like creepy. It's a creepy song.
it's not that
Like,
creepy.
I don't know who wrote that. I remember it like in the movie.
Is it
There
Spookly?
was some weird
Yeah,
psychedelic
spookly.
stuff.
Hold on. I'm up. I'm
No,
pulling it.
was the song kind of spookily?
Oh. It was kind
Oh,
of
dear.
spookly.
From a certain point of view.
Uh, there was another thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Speaking of once again snow activities, our old house, our neighbors on the left, if you were looking at our house from the street view, had a massive, probably 10-foot deep ditch in the backyard. That had
Everyone does.
probably a 60-degree incline on it, and it just went straight down and straight back up. And we would sled down that. It was literally a 60-degree incline. So like you would
Oh,
sled
God.
down it and you just go crashing into the ravine at the bottom, and you would like come flying out of the sled, and you'd like it wasn't like cleared out for sledding, so it was just like a bunch of bushes down there. And then you would be like, ow, 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 and then you would like grab your sled and you'd throw it back up top like a Captain America's shield, and then you'd like use the bushes and the
Crawl out of
shrubbery to pull yourself
Shrubbery.
back up out of the ditch. And it was so much fun, and we just do that over and over again.
Wild.
It was probably not horribly safe, but it was fun.
I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah.
Noticing
We
a
kind
trend
of
here.
died, but at least we had a good time.
Give me a second. I need to check how long ago this was. Hey, never mind, I'll think of it.
We're confirming whether or not it was part of his childhood or his after childhood.
Yeah, basically.
It doesn't matter.
It
We-
was
we are, like,
okay.
still
It was
yeah.
a while ago. I know. I just wanted to just say how. Well, okay. It's 2019. We got lost in the mountains.
Oh no.
We were hiking up mountain. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Well, it's not that close. Anyway,
You're hiking up a mountain.
we were hiking up a mountain. Um, in a fairly large mountain range. You know the one.
Yeah,
The
I
one
I
that's
know which one
close.
you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was first of all it was rainy like the most of the time, right? So it was kind of sucky. And then we get to the top. Well, we don't get to the top of the mountain because we were like it was a mountain high enough so that it was like there was no trees on the top.
Yeah.
So going it would and there was thunder, so we didn't want to go out into the middle of a barren mountain peak
Oh
with
yeah, that sounds like a
thunder.
bad idea.
So we decided to turn back before reaching the top, which was annoying because we got lost, but we didn't even meet our goal of getting to the top of the mountain, which is well, we did get there eventually, like but that was years later. I think that was last year actually. Anyway, so we're on our way back down, and apparently what happened is that someone stole like the sign as like a someone took the sign for some reason just to like have it, right? And the path the sign was pointing towards was like hidden by a rock. So we did not know. We passed by it without knowing that there was a path there.
Ooh.
And so we ended up going the wrong direction. And to a degree that we didn't have enough time to get back to the car once we realized. So we found the nearest campsite, and luckily there was campers there. There were when he had there was a spare tent. It was fucking freezing. It was apparently the coldest campsite in the entire place.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
Oh,
so we had to stay overnight in the goddamn mountains, freezing to death. Well, and then we got out the next day, but it sucks.
That sounds like quite the adventure.
Yeah.
not quite good times, but
And then the next year we went purposefully backpacking with like tents and everything. So I guess we didn't learn our lesson.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other stuff. I don't want to talk about camping stuff because that was like the other topic that I was considering doing is I want to do camping and vacations at some point, but I
Oh,
want that to
shoot.
be no, it's fine. You didn't know. I would have stopped if I would have stopped you if I thought it was a problem.
Yeah.
That is another topic I want to do at some point, but I don't want to talk too much about camping or vacations right now. That'll probably be the next time I host. We'll do that. But for now, I'm trying to think of other wacko shit that we did as a kid. I remember one of our neighbors had once again a ditch in their yard. And they built a bridge over it. And I remember playing like Troll Under the Bridge with
Oh my God.
the other group of family friends that I've mentioned. And stuff like that.
there
also-
was
Go ahead.
at my old house. We had like a backyard. We were like on a corner, so our backyard, like half of it would be open to the road, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it was originally there, but there was a bush there, which was probably put there for like privacy or to like avoid needing a fence or something. But it worked because then we were able to like play in our backyard without having like the road right next to us. But this thing was like big, right? Like we were able to walk inside it all three of my brothers and me walk inside it and have room to like kind of just sit around or talk or whatever. And it became known as King Bush because it was just so big and so much like happened inside it and within
Oh
it, and
my
it was
gosh,
like,
I just got a flashback. Oh.
you remember King Bush?
No, not King Bush. I got a flashback to
Oh.
Mrs. Berry Tree.
Okay, wait, okay, so
I'll explain
yeah,
it after you're done with your story.
why that was pretty much the brunt of the story. There's another part of that backyard I can talk about later, but I was talking with my sister-in-law at one point, and she was asking people, she was like kind of taking a survey because why does like almost every child have some sort of like tree or bush or plant or something that in their childhood just like was magical. Like
I
you
remember.
personified it, you like gave it character or lore. There was something about it. Like all of us had something about this like one piece of fauna that like we remember. And it's fascinating.
I have a similar thing that you just reminded me of, but Ren, go first.
Yeah. Mrs. Berrybush was, do you remember, Isaac, the sandbox?
Yes.
It was the tree on the closer side of us, towards the house from the sandbox. Remember how there were two trees,
Okay.
one on either side of the sandbox? The one on the far side was a really good
Yes.
climbing tree. I think your brothers were the ones that scaled it to the top.
Good climbing trees are amazing.
Probably.
It was a great climbing tree. And then the one on the closer side was Mrs. Berrybush, or Mrs. Berry Tree, Mrs. Berry Tree, I think. And I don't remember why she got that name. I don't remember any of her lore, but there was a whole thing with my grandma. My grandma was there when we named it. And so it was like a thing between me and my brother and my grandma, and it was like Mrs. Berry Tree and like all these things, and like she had like this extensive lore, and it was crazy. And I completely forgot about her until you mentioned King Bush.
The lore.
The lore.
Not quite a bush, but there is a place, same place as the mount, same area as the
Yeah.
mountains. So there's a place we used to kayak to. That was dubbed Blueberry Island. Get this, it has blueberries on it.
Whoa.
Um,
I can see the correlation there.
yeah, so we'd go on like a kayaking canoe/kayak with my cousins, and we'd go out, and we'd get to the island and like eat sandwiches there and blueberries. It's great.
Nice.
Mood.
Yeah, speaking of berries, I at the old house, our every single year, we had raspberry bushes, wild raspberry bushes that invaded our gardens. And every single year we would have to cut half of them out because they would grow like a fucking weed. It was great. I loved having the raspberry bushes around, but they were just like surrounding the entire house. It was like an army like taking siege of our house. The raspberry siege, the great raspberry siege.
Oh my god, I loved berry picking.
Berry picking, yeah, wild berry picking was so good.
There was, I think the people who owned our current house before us had strawberry fields or something. So like there was a couple years when we first moved in, there was strawberries growing next to the shed. Eventually, because we weren't maintaining them, the rabbits just ate them away. So we do not any longer have strawberries right next to our house, but they were pretty cool when they were growing there.
Yeah, there's a
We have
theory
rabbits
that
now, which is fun.
there's a theory that our old house was built over the top of where a farm used to be because there were wild onions in the back as well. Wild onions, wild garlic. There was wild strawberries when we first moved there. There was actually a pair of cherry trees in our backyard when we first moved there.
Yo,
Our neighbor had apple and pear trees. There were wild Concord grapes all over the place. And as I said before, there were raspberries, and I think there were blackberry bushes back there as well. So there was all sorts of
Bonkers.
stuff. Yeah. So like you could make an
Honestly,
entire meal from our backyard.
my daddy can make a pizza using nothing but found items from your backyard. Bonus points for anyone who knows what that's from.
I do not, but it's a funny quote, so I like it.
Great song.
So I played too much Minecraft as a kid. Was there any video games that you played too much of as a kid?
Not necessarily too much of, because my
Yeah,
parents were
that's
pretty
fair.
strict about like screen time. Not
Yeah, mine
not
were
screen time
too.
as a whole, but like specifically video game time. Like we would watch a lot of TV and movies, more so as we grew older. But like when we were young, video games you had like 20 minutes and that was it.
Yep, that
Um,
was the same rule here. 20 minutes. 20 minutes of video games.
which in modern gaming is like absolutely insane to think. Like, oh yeah, I was doing stuff in 20 minutes because everything's so long now.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lego games, we had Lego Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, Lego Star Wars Complete Saga,
Lego
Lego
Star
Clone
Wars Complete
Wars,
Saga. I actually took the time to repurchase that for my computer on Steam
as you should.
because it's so much better than the Skywalker Saga.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
It's
know. I don't know. I can't
it might
explain
it might
exactly
just
what
be
my
the
first time
nostalgia.
about.
It might just be the nostalgia, but it's like that is a
There's
legendary
a
tier
simplicity in it.
game.
I went and 100% did it. I think senior year, maybe junior year.
I think I
Might have been
remember when you were doing
junior
that.
or senior year of high school. I like made it a whole point. I'm like, I am going to. I started in February. Sometime in March, I finished like 30 hours. I was not necessarily speed running, but I was like, I've never actually 100% of it. I'm going to do it, and it was so worth it.
Yeah.
I can put that on my resumes now.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll get you qualified for a job.
Saw a task from start to finish 100% through. Stopped at nothing.
Yeah.
Used no
Oh,
assistance.
I'm I'm having memories now. So to answer Cosmo's question,
I hope you have
I
memories a lot. Memories are kind of important. Like if you
oh
don't have memories, you
okay.
should probably get
I
them checked
forgot
out.
the question I asked.
You asked if there were any games that we played like religiously growing up. Not necessarily
Mhm.
religiously, that was not the wording you used, but like you used
Yeah,
like
yeah.
too much.
I know.
Yeah. I had the same thing where we were not allowed to play more than 20 minutes of video games growing up. Uh when I was really little, it was Angry Birds, the Angry Birds series on my
Oh
dad's
my
phone.
god.
On my dad's phone. He would sit down, he would sit us down, we would lay down in bed, and he would sit down on the bed next to us and he would hand us his phone, and we got like 10 minutes of Angry Birds time each. For like a treat in the evening sometimes. That was part of our bedtime routine. And then it actually took me years to convince my mom to let us play Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like I was not, it was not until I was like probably 11 or 12 that I was allowed to play it.
Angry Birds, Angry Birds. I was obsessed with Angry Birds.
I fucking loved
I
Angry
had
Birds.
I had like a bunch of the Angry Birds plushies.
We're
it was a
dedicated.
problem.
We got
Although
to
I
play Angry Birds on our great aunt's phone whenever she would come up. Uh, she would let us like kind of play around on that, and that was good times.
but it's
Very
weird
fun.
because Angry Birds is like it's like everyone thinks of it as a mobile game. But I can't help but think of it as a computer game because when I played it, it was mostly on a computer.
Interesting.
Funky.
Yeah. What was there was another game I was thinking of.
I just thought of a game.
You go ahead because I'm not gonna recall what I was thinking of.
Roblox.
I never got into
Never
Roblox.
played.
That's probably a good thing.
I do remember what I was gonna say. Do you remember in yeah, we're all the same grade. Fourth grade, when was it fourth or third? It was third or fourth grade when FNAF, the first FNAF game came out and it blew up.
I was not. I came to the FNAF thing way late.
No, I did too. But I remember kids playing this game on their phones in third and fourth grade, and being like somewhat interested in it, and then hearing it was a horror game, being like, "Oh, that's not for me." And now I'm absolutely obsessed with FNAF. Um, me and my best
Okay.
friend are. I'm not as obsessed with it as I used to be, but like I had a FNAF stint where it was like part of what I want to do with my life is go through all of the games and all of the books and all of the movies and figure out every single piece of
Oh
lore, put
god!
the whole
Oh
thing together.
no!
Yeah, fucking game theory this shit. Figure out what everything means. Every single frame of every single game. Like
I
I enjoyed specifically the lore that religiously.
I don't really care much about FNAF anymore, but there was a period of time where I liked FNAF a lot, and
Yeah.
I
See the
decided
table.
to make a really badly made clone of it in Scratch. Oh my god, Scratch. Scratch
Bitch.
Imagine.
Oh man,
Scratch is great.
my brother made a game on Scratch called Kill the Cat, and it was just a Scratch cat bouncing around on the screen, and there was like 3 mines bouncing around on the screen, and whenever they bounced into the cat, the game was over. And I love that game so much. It didn't do squat, but you just watch the cat like get murked over and
It's
over.
like, have you seen that fucking game that's like Rubber Ducky Simulator or something?
Oh my god, yeah.
I think I have.
It's along the lines of like Rock Simulator where you're just a rock, but in this one you're just like a rubber ducky, but you're like on like a pool in like overlooking like a city or something, and you just look at this little rubber duck and it just floats around, and you can spawn more rubber ducks in or something, and like I haven't seen a ton about it, but I've like seen a
Yeah.
couple of
I
things
know
about
what you're
it.
talking about.
Yeah. There's also what's it called? It's not called Walking Simulator, but it's a
Cool math games.
Dude, Duck Life. Can we just
Duck
like
Life.
fucking Duck Life.
take Duck Life for a second? Because oh my gosh, what
Go
a
down the
game!
cool math games rabbit hole.
I don't know how they did it, but like Duck Life is probably one of the greatest games of all time.
I don't know about that one.
Period. I will stand by that. You don't get a game as universal as Duck Life and not get like cred, you know? Like something about raising a duck. There's like apparently ducks can fly and swim and run and climb, and why haven't we like I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
understand it at all, but it just works so beautifully.
Then you do mini games and just like the grind set.
Grindcraft. Did you guys ever play Grindcraft? It's like
Grindcraft?
Oh,
cookie clickers,
maybe.
but for Minecraft.
Oh, I think
No.
so. I remember loving Cool Math.
That one wasn't on Cool Math. I think that was.
I
I don't
probably
remember
didn't
where
play
that
it
was.
that.
It might
I
be
don't.
on
I
Cool Math
remember
now.
getting pretty far into Cookie Clicker. Not like that far, but
Oh, I've gotten deep.
He's
Me and
in
my,
deep.
me and my brothers have gone deep into cookie clickers.
Yeah.
Clicker games in general. I
There's
was
some
a fiend to those.
there are some really good games on Cool Math. Um, I'm trying to
It's
remember.
iconic for a reason.
It is iconic for a reason.
there's too many.
The fucking run games.
Oh my
I was never
god.
a run fan.
I never.
I don't know
What would
why.
happen
I
is
never got super into run, but I remember it being like a big thing.
in school. Uh, this is a little out of child. It was like more high school thing, but every time I'd go to lunch, I'd just play cool math games.
I did that too. I think we should probably steer away from the video game talk since we could have an entire episode about video games.
Cool math games.
We could have an entire 1 hour of cool math games. It's
Dude,
joined
there's
by
genuinely so
gameplay,
much
cool
we
math
could
games
do.
gameplay in the
It's
background.
like instead of Subway Surfers.
Instead of
it's
Subway
like,
Surfers, it's fucking run.
Oh,
Anyway,
dude.
I was thinking of like childhood memories, and this is more like teenagehood. But as I said at the beginning,
Yeah.
before I think before we started
Yeah.
recording, I'm okay with doing like teenagehood as well. My best friend Noah, who has been on this podcast, so you guys have met him briefly. He and I would hang out a lot. And I remember the very first game that I consciously beat, because I played a lot of games, but I did not beat a lot of games, was New Super Mario
Little.
Bros. U. And he came over to my house. I snuck the Wii U downstairs, and we played that game the entire night long. We did not sleep.
Nice.
Why is it the
Um,
Mario games that you don't sleep during?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Me and my brother, one time we were like visiting people, and we played like Mario Strikers Charged, like past midnight, which was not normal for us. Something about those games.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you
Anyways,
fucking
continue.
remember do you remember Isaac? Oh, I just got a core memory just got pulled up.
Core
Oh, wait,
memory.
The first time I saw Wario's neutral special. Do you fucking remember that?
Yes.
Core memory. Oh my gosh.
The freaking Halloween party, bro.
Yeah, the Halloween
The one
parties,
that
and then it was that
lasted.
specific one. Oh.
Wait, what
I
is Wario's?
It's just the one where he
It was
bites you and then he chews on you.
Sparrow's
And I had
Ball,
never
right?
seen it before. And so somebody used it, and I fell out of my chair laughing.
You died so many times because we just kept playing, and you were rolling on the floor in laughter. You were just like not able to do like anything because you were just out, and we're like amused, but we're still playing the game.
Yeah. I don't know why, but to little me,
so
that was the funniest thing I had ever seen.
To be fair, we were also hyped up on sugar, so like maybe that was related, but still,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen someone laugh harder than that. Like,
That's why I knew you were going to remember it when I mentioned it. All I had to say was the first time I found
vivid.
out about. Oh,
You
that's
say Wario, and I know.
Wario. Yeah. Oh. Honestly, I was thinking about the. Okay, I don't want to keep talking about video games. Hold on. This is a topic for another day. I was going to keep talking about video games, but I don't want to because
You really did say I don't want to talk about video games, and then proceeded to talk.
Well, that's
about
a
video
core
games.
memory.
Yeah, that's
No,
a
yeah,
core.
that's a big one.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised I
Did I
forgot
tell
about
us-
that until now.
When Inside Out first came out, I'm assuming like did we all go through the thing where we started trying to figure out what our core islands were, like our core memories?
No, I never did that.
I don't
That
think
was a big thing. I remember.
I don't think I did that, but I do remember. It's interesting how a single movie can change an entire generation's vernacular, because core memory is now a thing, and before that, it really wasn't.
Yeah. Those language in general is fascinating.
Yeah, that was the topic of the first episode.
Words are weird.
Words are weird.
Yuck, yuck. Oh my god, I just remembered something. I don't know if you were around for this, Ren, but throughout like middle school.
If it was
and
middle
then,
school, I
like,
was not around for it.
okay, then the start of high school, I made these escape rooms. So basically, in my study hall, I would sit there instead of doing homework or anything useful. I'd get a piece of paper and start drawing like a top-down view of a room, and then in the room would be like hints to solve or like unlock things on the. It was a pretty abstract. Kind of now that I think, looking back, it's like very D&D esque.
I was gonna say very D&D esque. Like
Yeah, you start in a room and you got to figure out your way through. Like you got to figure out, and some of them were actually genuinely clever, honestly.
Do you have any of them saved?
They're sitting somewhere in a binder. I don't have it with me right now.
Right.
It's probably at home. If I didn't lose them. But anyway, they're
Look back at things like that.
And then, so what would happen is during lunch, I would go out to my friends and say, you should try to get them to solve it. And it was great. And then
Yeah.
there was one escape room called the Impossible Room, where it was just a circle, and the solution was to erase it in real life.
Yep, that tracks.
That sentence ended very abruptly. Like it sounded like there was supposed to be more to that sentence, but clearly there was
No,
not.
no, that's a solution. And what would happen is I would say, "Oh, a lever appears on the wall," and it's all I'm just like bullshitting the entire time, and then, and then until finally, they finally like reach for the pencil that I leave right there and erase the goddamn wall. It's great.
Imagine doing that in like a D&D setting where like the solution to the game is to get super meta.
You think I already haven't done
I've had
that?
ideas in the past about like running a warlock whose pact is with the DM.
Okay, I'm gonna get a little off topic, but I did do this. One of the puzzles that I threw at my at the players. Well, okay, one of the it was it was a very meta storyline in the first place.
Yeah.
They got cursed by the version of me in the game. Like they ran into the DM, right? And they got cursed because they did something stupid. And then
As they should.
and and then the only way to get rid of the
Whatever.
curse was to find this obelisk. And to get there they had to solve a puzzle, and one of the side, like each four sides of the obelisk had like a different puzzle. And one of them was to just erase because I had a picture of it, and the solution was to erase it. Sorry, that was like last year, so that's not.
Yeah.
The good old days last year.
Oh. Never say the good old days around me, because I'll fucking quote Sundowner. Don't look up the quote, and I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get demonetized.
What?
Oh, now I have to say it. Now I have to say it.
So we can
then it like appears on the screen, intermission, as it.
I mean I played the game on my channel, and like anybody who saw it saw that scene, so I guess it's not like completely out of blue. But he goes, PMCs will be in high demand, just like the good old days after 9/11.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Bruh.
Yeah, that game was fucking whack.
Whack.
Yeah. Oh, I tried circling back around to video games again.
You gotta find a new circle point.
Yeah,
You gotta erase the circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta erase the circle.
What was your guys' favorite animals?
That was out of the blue.
We're trying to erase the circle of video games. So I don't know,
Yes.
childhood favorite animals. That's a big thing.
As a kid, I hated favorite questions, and I still do.
I stand by. I agree with that. Favorite animal I can do, but like, well, favorite color.
I can
too.
do favorite color because
I can do favorite animal and favorite color. Favorite anything else is really iffy.
As a kid, I was like, oh, my favorite color is this. It kept changing like basically every time, and I was like, you know what? I'm making a decision. This is my favorite color now.
And the favorite color is?
Oh, it's green. Yeah.
Okay. Why did you not tell us?
I know. That would be really funny if he was just like, no, I refuse to tell you.
No, I'm not telling you.
It's actually wild how favorite colors work.
Is it?
Well, because like, you think about it, almost anyone would be able to tell you a favorite color. Like, I don't know if I've ever met someone who's like, yo, yeah, I don't have a favorite color. Like, you do favorite dinosaur? That's the go-to question I love to ask people. And they'll be like, oh, I don't know, I guess T-Rex. And it's like, okay, well, you're lame, and I'm disappointed in you.
Spinosaurus is the superior dinosaur.
Ankylosaurus, that's where it's at.
No, Spinosaurus. We disagree on this one, bud.
Ankylosaurus is peak. You can't beat that high. Like, dude, they get nerfed so hard in every single film because those things were like apex. Like, nothing could top them. Anyways,
Apex herbivores. Hold on.
Exactly.
By the way,
Getting off
I-
track.
I kind of have to go soon.
Yeah, we should
Oh.
finish. We should start wrapping this up.
Sorry.
Okay,
it's
well,
fine.
I'll wrap up quickly my thought about colors then.
Yeah.
Basically, people have favorite colors, and like they almost always have a really weird reason for liking it. Like I know for me, it was the Bakugan. I always chose the water type Bakugans, which were like if anyone doesn't know, they're like Pokemon, but they were little balls that had magnets on the bottom, and they would go on these magnetic cards and pop open and have creatures inside. And there was like different colors and types and stuff. So I always played. I think it's called Aquas, which is water, and so it was blue. And because I played that, that blue became my favorite color, and now it's just like permanently my favorite color because of that one game I played as a child. And it's just kind of bizarre.
Yeah. All right. I think we're gonna start wrapping up here since Cosmo's got to get out of here. I am going to pick the host for next week, who unfortunately is not here. I was just looking at the podcast list and seeing who had hosted what was most recently. Cameron is going to be hosting next week, or whenever we next record. So I guess I'll do the outro for this one as well, unless one of the two of you wants to do it specifically.
I say we tag team it.
We tag team it. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Wait, we all have to speak at the same time. Just everybody start talking.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
I'm not continuing. I don't know the outro. What's the outro?
I don't know. There is no
I don't know,
specific
just
outro. I just kind of when I didn't mean like all say the same thing at the same time. I meant all do a different outro at the same time.
Oh God. Okay.
It's the countdown.
All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, everyone. For
everyone.
thank you so much for
off topic.
That has been off topic. I'm
so
sorry we
off
didn't end up
topic.
talking about
Drop it.
child psychology at all. But
See you next time.
next time, Cameron will host. Like, subscribe.
Get my
Figure things
hands
out.
Sign up bills, a classified dossier. Yeah. It's a party.
Party. CI.
Hey.